Welcome to Elevate Your Event, your favorite podcast for transforming fundraising events. Join us weekly for expert tips and creative ideas to make your next event a standout success.
Welcome back to the Elevate Your Event podcast. Today, we're giving you a behind-the-scenes look at what's coming next for Handbid. From the most requested features to new innovations on the roadmap, Jeff, Elise, and the team break down the updates designed to make your event smoother, faster, and easier than ever. Let's dive in.
All right, what are we talking about today?
Let's do this.
We're talking about features.
Welcome to
Amazing.
Elevate Your Event. Oh, we have the Handbid team in here. It's an internal meeting. It's like a little Handbid powwow.
Yeah, we like to
love it.
powwow.
So let's introduce ourselves first, and then we can talk about something Handbid related if you want. We don't have to.
Sure.
We can talk about the presidents again if you want.
I'm Elise. I am on the service team.
I'm Inga. I'm on sales team.
I'm also Elise,
Not on the service team.
not on the service team. I'm Elise on the sales team.
We're all on the service team because we're all about service at Handbid.
We are.
And Jeff Porter, I am. What team am I on? It depends on the day and the time.
You on the Handbid team.
I'm on the Handbid team.
You are all Handbid team.
Love it. Now, what are we here to talk about? We're here to talk about
Oh, I want that second one.
Handbid roadmap. Most requested features. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, you know who is probably the best source of the most requested features?
Service team.
Our clients.
Followed by the sales team, I would think. Okay. All right, service team,
All
you're
right,
up. Most
let's
requested
see.
feature that we don't have.
That we don't have. One that I hear a lot and I think would be super useful is having custom questions on for sale items. For example, if you buy a T-shirt, what size T-shirt would you like?
Okay.
And so I think that would be great.
That would be great.
There's a couple ways that we'll talk about a couple of ways we could deliver that.
I have a good one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a good one.
We're going in order here, Elise. Don't jump in line. We're going to go
Jeez.
counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise.
Yeah.
All right, Inga, you're up.
And I think this is a great one. I want to see this. I want to see this yesterday, but I hope it's already in development. I hear people request this a lot. Being able to pre-schedule broadcast messages.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
we
yeah.
get that a lot.
A lot.
Yes.
It is. It's a great one.
It is.
Because the templates are great. I think
I should be writing these down. I'm going to forget them.
Oh, the good news. I think
Rescheduling.
this is actually being recorded.
I mean, in addition to all the presidents
Not
and
that it's being recorded because we're going to come back and talk about these, right?
Yes.
I
All
have
right,
one
hang
as
on.
well.
Hang on. Let me get my notes app up here.
Oh, okay. Well, while you're doing
right.
that, I'm going to continue.
please do.
Yeah.
Purchase add-ons when purchasing a ticket.
Yes.
So
Oh,
you buy a
yes.
ticket and you add on a drink ticket or
Big
add
one.
on
A T-shirt.
purchase, add on
With
a
a
T-shirt.
size.
Something. Yes. Anything.
Custom questions
Yes.
on for sale.
Yep.
For those that don't know, for sale item in the Handbid speak is a fixed priced item. Right. Okay.
Correct. Purchase item.
And then we have scheduled broadcast.
I agree with all of those.
Yes.
What would be
And then-
really cool
What was
is
yours again?
add-on
Add-ons.
purchases
Add-on
when
purchase.
buying
Oh.
a ticket.
With tickets on
Ticket.
a ticketing page. Yep.
Purchase
Add-ons.
add-ons.
That's
I
a
love
big
that
one.
one.
That was a
People-
way better way of saying that. Good job. Yeah, ticket purchase add-ons. Yep.
Yeah.
I like those.
Okay. What else?
The other one that I hear is when when an auction closes or when somebody is, they lost an item, they got outbid at the last second, auction closes, and they say a prompt that says, "Hey, sorry you didn't win this item. Would you like to donate instead?"
Yes.
Yep, that's a great
We
one.
have that
It pops up on the website.
on
but,
the app.
I think it does on the website.
I've never seen it on the web.
Pretty sure.
Looks like you didn't win anything. Would you like to make a donation? It says it in the app.
What the heck do I know?
It's a good one.
I've just been here the longest, except for Jeff.
Except for Jeff.
At least it's a new feature. It was released last night. You didn't see it.
You
That's
guys,
right.
I missed the memo. I guess I need to go do some playing. And maybe I don't know because I clearly always just win everything.
Clearly.
Clearly. Win everything.
The price.
Especially the red wine.
That is true.
Yeah. Price doesn't matter.
I was at an auction on Saturday, actually, and my husband took my paddle from me and he was like, "You're not allowed to bid at anything."
You win?
No, because he took my paddle.
Why does he need your paddle? Aren't they using mobile bidding?
Not in the live auction.
Oh.
All
I hear
right,
ya.
let's see.
Well, you know what they say. Never
else?
stop bidding.
They were using mobile bidding, but because it was so clunky to use, I actually couldn't figure out how to place a bid. So that was
Clearly
great.
wasn't Handbid then.
Clearly
It was
wasn't
not
Handbid.
Handbid.
All right.
Clearly you chose a wrong event to go to.
Well, so I'll talk about some of the things we actually did build because for those of you, well, obviously the people that are here in the podcast know this, but for some of our listeners don't know, we do custom auction software development. And so
Right.
we do it. We have a white label business. And so we build auction platforms for companies who want to have their own branded auction platform. So more that you see on that on the commercial side than on the nonprofit side, but it's kind of both there. But let's and then when we talk roadmap and kind of feature requests, we also can start to build in, what's absolutely going to be in the roadmap. Like these are the things that are going to get built because we have an obligation to build them, or what we've already built but we haven't necessarily exposed to the general Handbid world.
Right.
And then down to maybe some stuff that in the sales process we have clients asking us about that we're like, oh yeah, we could build that. We'll talk about those.
Yeah.
Sound good? Okay.
It's great.
Yeah.
And wishes from current clients as well.
Yeah, well, you have that on here, right?
Right.
Custom
Yeah,
questions
that's-
on
that's
on
what
a
those
for
are.
sale
I know,
item.
but that's
But you
built
can-
into the
do you
roadmap.
have more?
I don't know.
Okay. If you think of another
I
one,
will.
let me know. Okay, so let's start with the first one, custom questions on for sale items. So this actually came up with a commercial client as well, but the way we probably would build that is what are called sub-attributes on the for sale item. So when you're in there creating a for sale item, you would then go in and say, I'm going to create a sub-attribute, or I'm going to attach one. We'll probably have you globally create them, and it can be size or color or whatever. And so you would then attach that sub-attribute, just like we have custom fields on items. Some of our clients don't realize that. We have custom fields. You can actually create whatever you want. These would be no different. So you'd add a custom field, but then you would also be able to attach a quantity. So when I'm selling a T-shirt, and then I can have so many reds and so many or whatever. But you have to then take it a step further.
Yep.
You have to create variations of all of the products. So it's taking the custom attributes and then you have to bundle them together, right? So that it's not just size or color, it's red extra large. How many of those do I have versus green mediums or blue smalls, right? So you create all those variations. So we have like one client we've been talking to who wants to start selling coffee. Well, it would be, what's an attribute? Whole bean or ground?
Coffee,
Or
not
cake.
toffee.
Coffee.
Coffee.
I mean, we
Whole
like
bean.
both coffee and
I
toffee.
like toffee as well.
Whole bean ground K-cup would be the format,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But then there would be dark roast, light roast, medium roast, whatever kind of thing. So anyway, so I think we would probably build it that way. Sounds complicated, but that's how most e-commerce platforms work, right? If
Right.
you're
And the
looking-
purpose of the request is to have more e-commerce so that when somebody's selling inventory of or merchandise, merchandise of their whatever at their golf tournament, they only have to use one platform.
or you have maybe you have a school client and they're running their annual auction and they're doing their peer-to-peer fun run with us. Now they can just run the school store if they want to.
Yes.
So now taking it one step further, would it be possible to have an open-ended question like, what song would you like the disc jockey to play?
As I'm voting and
Yeah, like a vote or like a pay-to-play type.
yeah, we could. We did build
that
something
question.
for a client that we will expose here soon to, I'll call it like everybody, like the Handbid universe, which is ask the auction manager a question. Now, it's what we built was very basic. Like it's literally on the front end where I can go in and just type in a question and hit submit. And it could be on an item or it can be on the auction itself. And we're literally just sending an email to the manager saying, this is what I want. So
Right.
you could start with that. And then, we could add the ability for you to like attach a question. So as soon as I buy that for sale item or put it in my cart, then it would allow me to go in there and, at that point,
Send the question.
that's the question. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So custom questions on for sale items, we could do that. If it's around attributes, that is one thing we are talking to a client about building. Now, we haven't necessarily inserted that exact date into the roadmap, but that is probably how we would build that. Schedule broadcasts. Yeah, we actually have a customer who's asked for this. Now that we've kind of revamped how we handle all of our back-end scheduling, this would be a fairly simple thing to build. So
Be great.
I
It
would
would, yeah.
expect
people would love
that'll
it.
come out in the future here soon. Ticket purchase add-ons, why not?
I don't know. You
Sounds
tell me
great.
why not.
I think it's a great idea.
That
Does sound good.
and would be awesome.
Yeah,
There's
that one would-
multiple clients
it
that
would-
would appreciate
And
that.
as most people say, that should be easy.
Actually,
Right.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. I'm like, you want to
This wouldn't
program
be
it?
terribly difficult to build, actually. More user interface stuff than on the back end. You just, on our ticket modal, when you're setting up your ticket, you would just attach for sale items as add-ons.
Yep.
That could be offered.
That would be a really, really good thing. Right
Yeah.
now, people are creating different tickets that include these things, and it just kind of convolutes it, and they have to create
It's
so
long.
many.
It's very lengthy.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what I want. You never know. I guess I didn't ask myself what I
Jeff,
want.
you should have
Yeah.
asked yourself.
Yeah, I totally want to build this, and this would really not be hard to do, would be to have multiple guest lists per event.
Yes. Oh, we talked about that not that long ago.
Yeah.
So then you could have your VIP party
More like
or
Your golf
my
and your
golf,
gala.
my golf and
Oh,
gala.
right.
So
Yeah.
like I
And
could
that's a
have
big one.
who's coming to the golf tournament. Like you could use this for a conference if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
who's signing up for whatever
Yep.
sessions. So your tickets get connected to a guest list. So when you're
Mm-hmm.
building your ticket, you will have to pick what guest list it's going to populate.
Yes.
But
And that is a very popular trend. We have multiple clients events. They run their gala night before and they golf
the
outing
golf.
next
Correct.
morning.
It's very common.
It's great.
But then when you go to check in, you just say, I want to check in off
Right.
the golf tournament guest list versus the gala guest list.
Yes.
So anyway, we should
May
go
I-
build
I
that. That
agree.
would be easy to do. I'm going to write that one down.
May I add
Well,
to
what a
the,
great idea, Jeff.
Jeff, that is a great
Amazing.
idea. May I expand on the add-on on the ticket page?
Yeah.
We also get a request to be able to add multiple type tickets to like a cart versus just completing each purchase separately.
Multiple type tickets.
Correct. So, like,
Okay.
if I want to purchase individual ticket, but I also want to purchase a golf outing ticket, why can I do that in one swoop as one purchase, add to my cart, aka invoice, and pay
Well, you
in
can
one
because you
transaction?
say add, and then you say add to cart. You have to choose both quantities.
Yeah. I think you can do this.
I don't think you can.
What you couldn't do is if it were, you know how we have the idea of tickets and sponsorships.
That
Yeah.
wouldn't work.
That
Right,
wouldn't
right,
work
right,
because
'cause
that's
they're
two
on
separate,
separate-
pages.
That's
But if
right.
they're on the same page, you should be able to do that.
Right. And people ask us all the time, why do you take pay later tickets and put them on a separate page?
Yeah.
Because how would you not?
It's a pay later option.
Because it's a checkout flow. And so, I mean, I guess we could rebuild it where if it's pay later on a particular item, you could mark that one saying I'm going to pay later, but we didn't build it that
That's-
way.
Right.
I
So-
think that would lead to error.
I think so
I
too.
think so
That might be
too,
more
but also
confusion.
I think so
pay
too.
later is a sponsorship. Most
Right.
people that are buying a sponsorship are not
You're
buying
not buying individual.
tickets.
No.
Well,
Right.
And I don't want my people paying later unless it's like a big amount of money, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we're good on that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So multiple guest lists, I have that on there. We had a great idea that way. And then some things that we have built that we need to then roll out. Okay, so I told you the ability to ask the auction manager a question. Custom documents, done.
Yep.
So you can upload PDFs or, Word docs or whatever, and then they get hosted by us, and then they can download them off that event homepage. Okay, so we'll roll that out here soon.
And those can link to like right signature or other things,
No,
right? Or-
this
That's
is literally
different.
just
Okay.
like I need to upload this policy or this form or like commercial clients use it a lot for like I need you to read the rules of the whatever event I'm doing or whatever. So anyway, in this case here, I would see in peer-to-peer, some people might want to say here's
right.
the like some document I need you to
Right.
download and maybe physically sign and bring in or something. Okay. But we did, to your point, we did also build a DocuSign integration. It is just DocuSign. It's not right
All right.
signature.
Okay.
But once we get that up and running, you can literally require a bidder sign a DocuSign agreement. So you'll go build your agreement in DocuSign. You'll put in all your templates and like inside the template, you can put in whatever variables you want. We actually can link that to bidder registration. So the other thing we have built is the ability to add custom attributes to a bidder's registration. Okay, not a guest list. So this would be for people that are registering to bid in your auction. It's very, so it's not. I mean, people are kind of thinking like we already have some sort of custom attributes on guest lists, so it wouldn't be hard to do that too. But like this would be like if I wanted to capture, maybe a question about are you interested in A, B, or C, or if I wanted to capture other attributes like a company name, or maybe even like your age or whatever, or it could be a variety of things. That all gets stored on the bidder's profile inside of Handbid, but they also can be passed over to DocuSign. So if you needed to populate a form with all that data, saying Inga's renting this car and she's doing X, Y, and Z, and here's the car she's renting, and here's her age, and here's her driver's license number, and all that other kind of stuff we captured, it would all be in the document. They can sign it, and then you can prevent them from bidding if they have not yet signed the document. So DocuSign comes back and tells us Inga signed the document, and then we mark you as authorized. So anyway, we built that.
And do you think that would be able to be added to peer-to-peer for like a 5K?
Yeah, why not?
That'd be great.
100%.
Let's
You
do
have
it.
to use DocuSign.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's see here. We also see what we have in here. We are working on an integration. This is not going to sound super exciting with Stripe Identity. So we have a lot of clients who are trying to, it's called KYC, the know your customer. So I know you, but you're bidding a lot, and I really don't know you well enough to feel comfortable with the fact that you have $7,000 or $8,000 or $9,000 in bids. So I need more information. And so what we're going to do is build in the ability to say, hey, you can set a threshold on how much people can bid, and then beyond that, they're going to have to,
Verify their identity.
their identity, and it'll be
Provide additional information.
normally it's like you can make them upload a driver's license or something like that.
Right.
We don't handle any of it. That's why it's called Stripe Identity. It's handled outside of Handbid entirely. It goes straight to Stripe. They validate that their driver's license is valid. They come back and tell us this person has been verified. Right. And then we can just mark the bidder verified, and then that can maybe increase their spending limit. Okay. So anyway. So the other thing that we have done recently, which I think is really cool, is for those of you who do understand that we white label, right? White label all the way down to the custom domain. But a lot of people, like when we're talking to them, are like, I don't need my own website, especially nonprofits, right? Like, I don't need my own website, but there are some things I want to maintain and control that are branded, and a lot of those times it's just the emails.
Right.
And so what we've done is we have a very basic white label, low end, no web interface, no custom apps. They certainly can buy those from us if they want. But we can set you up with a white label and then build all the custom email templates you want. And they can come from your domain. So there's a little bit of, I would say setup work we have to do, with on the mail side to make that work so that these things don't end up in spam. But we've had some clients really happy with this because we can customize. That email looks like it came from your domain. It's all of your branding, 100% looks like it came from you guys. So I think that's a really powerful thing for some of these, charities that are like, I really do want to control that onboarding process.
Right. Yep.
Right.
Nice.
And then another one that came up, I'm curious to see what you guys think of this. So we have a client who wants us to take our broadcast messaging and build an email option.
We do have that request. Now, my pushback is always that how quickly do we pick up our phone for a text and answer it?
Oh,
and
the open rate, I think, on an email is like 4%
Right.
as opposed to like 84% on a text message.
It
Absolutely.
would actually be really easy to do. That's why I'm asking, because the way we've built our system is by default it's SMS right now, but we could but on the back end behind that it's not. Like we can say send this message to these bidders and use email and use this template.
Right.
So
So I agree with Elise on the,
Right. reasoning.
your point behind that. My question to you is, what is the use case that this client is wanting email over text message?
He doesn't want to text all of his people for every single thing. Like he wants to send out like a whole like status, like think non-charity, right? So if you're at a charity event, this makes no sense, right?
Right.
Like
Okay.
if everybody's in the room,
Okay.
I'm not emailing them.
Right.
Like hey, the
They're not
auction's
gonna
going to
read the
close in
email
10
anyway.
minutes.
Right.
What's
not
wrong
gonna
with the
read that.
invite list?
Well, the invite list is for inviting.
I know
right?
what it's for,
And
but
so for this guy, he's like, they're already in my bit. Like the auction is going on for 2.5 weeks. I just need to send them an update. Like, hey, we're going to go ahead and close Friday. We've made some changes. Check this thing out, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, where do I do that?
It's a streamlining.
Because in
Email
the
involved.
invite list, I have everybody I invited.
Right.
You know, I could go filter that list to everybody who registered. I could
Right.
do that. And then I can go in there and change my
Yeah.
email template.
yeah, I
Still
get it.
not quick and easy.
No.
Whereas broadcast messages are so quick
Yeah.
and easy.
If it's not that hard to just add it on the back end
I
and say,
agree.
okay, yep, now you have an email choice. I mean, who cares how
Right.
Who cares how they want to use it compared to what used to
And
be,
Another
talk-
selector where you
Well,
would say
and-
method.
right.
Right. And talking about reach,
Just gives them an option.
I think a lot of clients, not just the one that's asking for this, would enjoy having that and would find it useful. So,
Right.
I mean,
Regardless
they
of the open
have
rate.
different use
Right.
cases, right?
Yeah,
they have
right.
different use cases. So, to your point, in the room, physical event,
Right.
you're probably not sending the email. You're going to use the SMS option, but not in the room.
Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's just an easier way to do it.
Yeah.
What about
agree.
the organizations
Okay.
that are running a lot of online auctions?
All right,
only?
now that we've hashed it all out, I like the idea.
Yeah. Right.
yeah.
So when's that going to be done, Jeff?
Next
I'll
Tuesday.
put it in the queue.
Should be easy.
Should be easy. How hard can it be?
Don't you have a developer
Well,
for this?
We have a few. I mean, but
You know, I've worked in software. I know how to do things.
spoken like a true customer. You know, I actually had a customer the other day. One of our white label clients told me exactly how to change or fix a certain problem.
Yeah. And you're like, thanks. Would you like to come work for us?
I was like, well, you haven't seen our source code, so I actually can't fix it the way you're suggesting. And actually, we're not going to actually fix it the way you want because it's not a bug. It's just you don't
like it.
It doesn't work the way you think it should.
Yeah.
But it's it's related to, and I don't know. You tell me, do a lot of the charities use the mass image uploader with the zip file?
No.
Okay,
Why? But why?
It is.
I think people are intimidated by it.
Oh my God.
To start with.
Yeah, it takes a little training. But let me tell you. So we have a cruise line art client, and so we've been heavily involved in delivering this project to them, and we delivered it fast. I mean, we delivered
Yeah.
2 apps and a web interface in 2 weeks. And one of
We're
the
not
things,
promising that moving forward.
well, depends on
For right price.
what the amount is at the bottom of the invoice. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Okay, maybe.
But what was interesting about the whole thing was he's like, hey, I'm under the gun. I'm literally going to get on this ship, and this ship is going to leave port, and I have no
This
idea
ship is going to sail.
what I have no idea
Yeah.
what kind of service I'm going to have. And the auction wasn't starting for 4 or 5 days anyway. And so he's like, would you do me a huge favor? Could your team upload this for me? And I'm like, well, I haven't done one of these in a while. I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
I want to see, if all these, customers are, running into problems or not. I'm just going to be the customer. So I took his spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It was a Google Sheet, downloaded it, 270 items.
Yeah.
Okay. And he had already done this, which is great. He gave me a Google Drive folder.
Okay.
And in there was every image. And the way we do our zip file uploader is if it's item code number 1, then your file needs to be 1.jpg or 1.png
Yeah.
or whatever. Okay. And if you have more than one image for an item, then you do like 1-1.jpg, 1-2, 1-3. Okay. Anyway, so I got this folder. They were not sized correctly,
Oh,
of course.
resize sense. Okay.
So I uploaded them into a bulk resizer, and within 30 seconds, resaved them all, and they're all now in the correct aspect ratio. And if people want to talk about why we have a forced aspect ratio, it's because we have a native app, and your iPhone screen doesn't change based on the size of your image. So anyway, So I resized them. So I took the spreadsheet, looked at that. I had to make a couple of changes. He was missing some values, of course. Every client is missing some values. Oh, my spreadsheet is ready. Okay, well, you're missing bid increments on these 15 items, right?
Yep.
So anyway, so I cleaned up a lot of that. It was really, really simple. And then took his images, resized them, put them in there, uploaded his items, all 270. That took, 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And then uploaded his images. That took like 2 minutes.
Wow.
And I'm telling you guys, in under 20 minutes, I had 270 items loaded
Ready to
with
go.
images
That's amazing.
ready to
That
roll.
is.
Yeah.
Well, resizing images, it is a big pain point for a lot of organizations.
Well,
Yeah,
I-
so
I-
we've been asked to build an AI resizer.
Yeah.
And we do
Be great.
we do have some technology that will do it. It is a little tricky because there's a couple ways to resize images. So if you bring me an image and it's really tall and really thin, and you're like, I need to get this to fit, right? The way you would have to use Handbid to do that is that you'd have to put borders on the sides, right, to get it to fit. Well, there's AI tools that will do that. Okay. What a lot of people want to do is they don't want to do that. They want the image to be
Stretch it.
resized with AI to like change the background. So I played around with this tool. It's actually really cool. And it was for the cruise line people. And the cruise ship is like sailing and it's got some like, I think it's the Hawaiian Islands behind it or whatever. And we basically were like, I need you to expand this to this aspect ratio and just fill in the background to make it look like more islands. And it did a fantastic job. But now you got ocean and you have islands, and it actually looked really good. So I think that's what more people are going to be interested in down the road is, can you intelligently resize some of these things? And we have one client who's, everybody knows who this client is. I mean, we're not supposed to talk about them by name, but they have a lot of really popular memorabilia, and they tried their own version of an AI resizer, and it was like you just took Buzz Lightyear and you just made his head wide and fat.
Pixelated.
And that looks so bad.
That looks bad.
Yeah.
Like we're, we can fix this in a different way. So I think that is one.
Right.
If we're looking at ways to like improve the auction manager experience, the guests don't see any of that stuff, right?
Right.
They see the image.
But it's still a pain point for
It
But
is.
it is
our
a
direct
pain point.
customer.
Well, it's a pain point for us. So any of our clients that listen to this podcast is like, we are not ignoring you, right? We do all the same things you do. We run our own events. We get it, okay?
Yeah.
So we understand where those are. Obviously, to us, we want to focus on guest pain points way before we focus on our pain points because we can
and
tolerate a lot
ROI.
more.
What are we doing that's gonna?
Yeah.
What features are we building and adding that are gonna ultimately lead to your ROI?
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, but it's like I was just curious if people were using that because we built that for a commercial client, and I think it's pretty good, honestly.
I have only used it one time.
Yeah, I have.
And you know what? And my wife is like the pickiest of all pickiness when it comes to things. And she told me, she's like, I used that for our event. Like she's like, I used it a bunch and it works great.
Yeah.
I'm like, perfect. So I get it. It's a little learning curve. I don't understand the .jpeg thing, but if you can get them over that hump, I am telling you guys, it is insanely better.
I talk about it when I'm, doing demos and discovery calls and whatnot. I talk about it a lot and say, as long as your item code matches your file name, this will work. And they're like, wow.
There's some other tricks.
It's
like, especially if you're on a Mac, and I'm a Mac user, and there's a couple things you have to know about how you organize them into a folder, but because Apple does some really strange things when you zip files. And by the way, compress is zipping the file on a Mac. People are like, I don't know how to zip a file on a Mac. Well, just
compress.
Highlight your images. Don't highlight the folder. Highlight the images. Right click, say compress. It'll create your zip file. So that's just Apple doesn't. They think the word compress means it's better. It is, I guess, actually compressing it.
That is the tip of the day right there, people, for all of you. That is the tip of the day.
Yes. Anyway. And then some other things that have come up that we're working on. So we're doing a lot of white labels right now. So
we are.
we are going to be making some just cosmetic UI upgrades and changes to the interfaces. We're starting with the web. It's gone through kind of a complete bottoms-up redesign. We're streamlining certain things, and it's just getting layered in. So it's not like we're just going to be like this big reveal. But you saw some of it.
The bidding controls. I like the bidding controls.
Yes, so we changed the bidding controls and the layout. That's going to change again. We're probably going to get rid of, not probably, well, we'll see. The way the design looks right now is that it will not be just called a max bid. It'll be, that whole treatment will be different, where when you place that max bid, it's not just going to be a different button.
Right.
So it will be an option that you can turn on and say auto bid for me, and you can put in a price, but it's not going to look like a different button. Anyway, so I think that'll make it a little bit simpler for some people. We're moving the filters out. Like when we redesigned the web, 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago.
I can't believe it's been that long, but I think you're right.
There was a design decision that I didn't love to hide the filters on the web behind a button. We're pulling those back out. So they're going to go back in the left-hand column. So
Easy to
you'll be
find.
able to-
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to look more like Amazon, right? Or on the left-hand side, because you can also in our system filter by custom attributes. So if you wanted to create a like an auction view where it's like, I want to filter by, square footage of houses for a real estate thing, or if you wanted to do it by like price range,
Right.
you can have sliders on that. And if you wanted to do it by, you could create a custom attribute called like hot buys or something, and if you wanted to just have people check that box, it would just filter to the whatever attribute you attach. So our clients use custom attributes in really unique ways, which is actually kind of fun. So some of them use it to promote stuff. Other people use our custom attributes to change data on the front end.
Yep.
One of our aviation clients uses it to change the starting bid because they want to manipulate that. So it's got a lot of uses, but it'll be way more prominent and useful when it's out on the left-hand side versus
When it's visible.
Yeah, so we're doing that. We're making some performance improvements, which will be good. We're always trying to make Handbid faster, right? Want to make Handbid faster, and so you find areas where you feel like, okay, this has just gotten to the point where it just needs a cleanup,
Yeah.
a little haircut.
Yeah.
So
I would like to see us finish air codes.
yeah, air codes are they're there. I mean, so people don't know what air codes are,
Right.
Yes, please.
So the way we've built our guest list is every slot and like people like I think once you understand the concept of a guest in Handbid versus a bidder, I think people then understand the power that comes behind that.
Correct.
Okay. Most bidding systems out there don't differentiate between the two. The problem is when you don't, then you can't do certain things like we do, which is to streamline the check-in process. And really, what's our goal? Our goal is to drive your guests to check themselves in. Like it's to get rid of the lines in the laptops.
You're right.
Okay? We've already gotten rid of the laptops, but like to really get rid of the lines, and so to do that, now you're asking your guests to be able to kind of complete information. So air codes is like a direction to go, because if you think about, I buy a table or I buy a foursome at a golf tournament, what's the first thing I do is I'm going to get pestered either by the charity, the host, or I'm online to tell me you need to fill in your guest. Who's coming?
Right.
Okay. And this just happened to me recently, and it's so funny because I have sat on both sides of this fence. Okay. So I buy a table at this event, and it's like 2 months out, and I get an email from the host, and they're like, "Who's coming to your event?" I have no idea.
No, it's a long
I
way
have
out.
no idea.
I think I know what event this is.
Okay.
This was not a Handbid event.
No.
No.
was not.
Yeah,
But I don't have any idea who's coming. Okay. 7 weeks out. I need your guests right away. Why? Like, it's 7 weeks away. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. Like, and you want me to tell you what I'm doing in 7 weeks? So I get this, right? And I also see the other side of this where, as an event host, right, from like my Derby fundraiser, I get it. It drives the charity a little batty. They're like, who is Jeff
coming?
Porter bringing? I need to know names.
to know.
Why do they want to know names? They want to know names because they want check-in to go faster.
Right.
Right? Okay. So the concept of air codes started with some fairly large festivals we were doing where you had 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 people going. Okay. Not everybody's going to bid. But they're trying to get people in the door quickly.
Right.
Okay. So when you're trying to get people in the door quickly, and not all of them are going to bid. Like you can't go through this elaborate laptop
Registration,
check-in.
yeah.
Can I get your email? Can I get your phone number? Can I swipe your credit card?
Yeah.
So what they used that we observed and then decided to make better was they just used this QR code system. So what would happen is, say you're Pepsi and you sponsor this event for $20,000 and they give you 50 tickets.
Right. You're
Are you-
never going to know who your 50
No.
people are.
Are you really, as Pepsi, going to take 50 guest slots and fill them in? You're not.
No.
Nope.
So what they did, which is what we built, was we're going to print 50 name badges. Okay? We're actually going to print 2,500 badges for the entire event. Okay? And every single one of those badges is basically a guest slot in our guest list. So when I go into the back end, or I go on we actually built it into our iPhone app. I go into my iPhone and I say, okay, I need to manage this. I pull up Pepsi. It says there's 50 slots I need to fill. I grab 50 badges and I just scan them. And all I'm doing is telling Handbid that slot belongs to Pepsi. You just put them in the Pepsi box. You mail Pepsi their 50 badges. We don't care who they bring. Okay? Because what they're going to do is those people are going to be told, download the Handbid app and scan your badge.
Yeah.
Right.
And now we know who they are. They're Pepsi, blah, blah, blah. Welcome. Put in your name, your email, your phone number. You're in the door.
Yep.
Okay? So then you're not dealing with the host stress.
Right.
Absolutely.
Who's coming? Who's coming? Honestly,
Yeah.
I finally, about 3 weeks out, they were getting so frustrated with me that I had not. And I said, okay, I have an 8-person table. I have 4 of the 8. I thought that was a win. I said, I know at least 4 people that are coming. I'm trying to nail down the other 4. No, I need all 8. And so here's the irony of it. Okay. So after getting pestered 2 more times, I'm now not maybe a week and a half out. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to have to give her names of the other people that are coming. I'm going to give her names. I have no idea if they're coming, but she'll get off my back. So then
So then they're
the
wrong.
Monday before the event, I'm like, now that I really know, so the event was on a Thursday night. The Monday before the event, I actually now know who those
Right.
extra 4 people are going to be. And I'm like, oh, by the way, the 4 names I gave you, they're not right. Here are the new ones.
Yeah.
So will you tell me what was better?
That was not helpful.
No.
It's not helpful. So anyway, I get it. Like, and that's a different type of event than we use air
Right.
codes. But the idea with air codes is exactly that, which is let's put the onus on the person. And it doesn't have to be. These don't have to be printable badges. You could do wristbands. You could actually print out QR codes. You could digitally distribute QR codes.
Right.
So Pepsi could just have a page with 50 QR codes, and then every slot just put in an email and mail it to somebody. I mean, it doesn't make any difference to us. Right? Because all we're doing is now that person, when they scan that code, we know who they are.
Yeah.
So,
Who they belong to. Yeah.
yeah. We have some other guest list stuff. I mean, when we look at where check-in is going in the check-in process, and this seems to dominate all of our conversations, including podcast conversations,
Yeah.
support
For sure.
conversations,
It's
sales
important.
conversation.
It's the
Yeah.
biggest.
It's
like
make
pain
it or
point.
break it.
But
So
where-
make it or break it your event.
But where is it going, right? And so the other day, it was interesting. I'm listening to this podcast, and they're talking about, like, this guy's talking about Chick-fil-A. And I don't remember the exact dates, but at some point in the past, they were rated one of the worst performing drive-thrus in their segment of the industry.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes.
I just can't.
That's ironic. That's
Yes.
ironic.
Had to have been a long time ago.
Yeah.
So anyway, they sat down and said, okay, so how are we going to fix this problem, right? And so they're looking at, like, where's the constraint? Like, where is the biggest constraint?
Yeah.
And if I go and I
bottleneck.
attack that constraint, right? You succeeded when the constraint moves. We should just do a whole nother podcast on this. But, like, so they did. So in the drive-through, where was the old constraint? Do you guys have any guesses?
Ordering.
Yeah, but where?
After they ordered, because you go through your 2 lines and then you bottleneck right here.
No, they didn't have 2 lines.
They only had one line.
What, the constraint was the menu board.
That's right.
There's one. Okay, and even if you have 2 lines, there's 2. It doesn't matter. He's like, people who sit in line for 20 minutes, and I see this all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, then
sit
they
in line
wait.
for 20 minutes and,
And
they
then
get up to the
there
board,
and
then
they're
they
like,
read the menu.
what do
They're
I
not
want?
ready to order.
I'm like,
Right.
exactly. So
I
it
could see
doesn't
that.
matter.
Yeah.
Everybody waits. So if I spend an extra minute and a half reading the menu board because I haven't decided what I want, everybody behind me's time in line just got increased by a
Yes.
minute and a half.
Right.
Right.
And then it multiplies.
So think about how charity events used to work, okay? And some of them still do, and some of our competitors still do it this way. But like, what did people do? So like, you have a line. So say I want to increase the kind of the
Streamline,
speed
yeah.
of check-in. I just add more lines,
Yep.
right? But there's still what's the constraint at check-in?
Asking for their information.
Getting
Yeah,
Email.
it's getting
Thank
all their
email and
info.
phone number.
Right. And the guy fumbling for his credit card or his driver's license or whatever it is you're asking for. I mean, remember back in the day when it was like, I'm coat checking you, I'm validating your parking, I'm giving you a red sticker because you're vegan, like all this
And your
stuff was
name
happening.
tag. And,
Yeah,
yeah.
And
Jeff,
then I
you
have to
forgot
go
the name
behind
tag.
me and I have this packet I got to go find for you. And in your packet is like your wristbands and like, we still have clients that do this, and it drives us crazy because we're like, that is your constraint, right?
Yep.
Everybody behind that person is now waiting.
Yep.
Okay, so what we started doing was like the easy stuff, like tell your clients, validate parking over there, make the code check somewhere else,
Name tags go over there.
add a custom question to your ticket on what their meal preference is, like get rid of some of that stuff and
Right.
get rid of those stinking packets,
Yeah.
right? So digitize or do something, or just give the check-in person a collection of wristbands, and if it says he's a VIP, give him a VIP wristband. So anyway, so there's all those things that you can fix, but you still are capturing this data, and you still have one person sitting at a laptop, doing their thing. And we still have clients that are printing name tags and have printers between their stations and whatever. Okay, so Chick-fil-A, okay, they said the menu board is the problem. So how did they fix that?
Mobile.
Multiple
iPads.
lanes.
Not multiple lines.
And
Mobile,
they
iPads.
put
iPads.
Yep, they put
iPads.
people out.
They walk around and they
how many
mobile order
iPads?
taking.
A lot.
Many.
So
lot.
many. It's amazing.
So think about what we've done the same thing, right? So in what we've done to innovate is say, okay, so I'm going to put the check-in agent on an iPhone. I'm going to get them away from the desk. I'm going to put them, and I'm going to push as far out into the audience as possible.
Right.
Because do I only need 5 check-in agents, or can I have 15?
Exactly.
Because I could take a bidder in my auction, I can give them the rights to check in guests, I can hand them a stack of paddles, and we have tap to pay on iPhone, so I don't have to give them a credit card reader, and I can say go out. We have tap to pay on Android too. Sorry,
Yeah.
Android users. So anyway, I could get them out into the crowd, and I remember we did an event a few years ago, and our customer was not used to this.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're standing in there, and it's a really small check-in area. And it was so funny because she's like, why is nobody sitting behind the table? I'm like, oh, the table's in the way. Don't worry about it. We got this. And she's like, I'm really, really nervous. I said, you're not going to be nervous because this is going to be awesome.
This is why you have us here.
Right. This is why we're here.
I remember
Okay.
that event so well.
And so we were literally, those guests were walking in the door and we're talking to them. And we're not talking to them to say, welcome to our event. Here's the line. Go stand over there, right? And wait for somebody to greet you,
Right.
or wait for somebody to check you in. We don't do that. Like, if somebody need to be at a laptop, maybe. Like, if you have some heavy lifting to do on
An escalation.
problem
but
solving.
That's, yes.
fine. But literally, we just implemented Chick-fil-A at check-in.
Yep.
Okay, and if you look at, they're number one. Okay, they're actually not number one in terms of the number of minutes in line, because it's still higher than a few, but that's only because there's so many stinking cars in their line.
I'm sure.
So
volume.
busy.
It has
Yeah.
nothing. The amount of cars
Yeah.
per hour they move is like 5x the industry. Okay,
Yeah.
It's
why?
incredible. Yeah.
It's just because of this. I mean, I went the other day because my daughter, who's a creature of habit, has to have Chick-fil-A every Saturday, and so we order it, and I don't do the drive-through because I just go in. Okay, and because the lady who gives me, she knows us too, so it's kind of going to catch up with her. But
It's a custom
But I
order.
watched.
Oh, Miss Shelley, we love
I
Shelley.
watched, and literally, there are 6 or 7 teenagers slash 20 somethings with
Yeah.
iPads out in line taking orders.
Yeah.
And other restaurants have copied it, and
As they should.
and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like I know which restaurants I want to go to because the
Right.
drive-through is so easy.
Yeah. And mobile ordering,
It's a
Yes.
right?
mobile order.
So you can also mobile order. It can speed up that process
Right.
as well. But that's no different than mobile check-in. That is no
Yeah.
different than saying to Inga, check yourself in,
Right.
Yep.
right? Whether
Yep.
it's through
Skip the line.
an air code model or something else.
Yep.
Like, but that's when we talk about like roadmap and innovations and everything else. Some of these things just kind of they're not. It's not a feature, right? It's just
Right.
it's a philosophy change that we
Correct.
have to push our clients into.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to start calling it Chick-fil-A check-in.
Why not?
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
It's got a special ring
It
to
also,
it, don't you
it
think?
also doesn't hurt that Chick-fil-A and Handbid, we train our people to be friendly and efficient.
Yeah.
Friendly and efficient. That helps with the check-in.
It does, but it's
Yeah.
also the point is, and I saw this even when we did Make-A-Wish, and I think the former platform they used, they had a lot of problems with lines, but like I'm not going to blame it on the software
Right.
necessarily. Maybe. I mean, maybe maybe that competitor software doesn't do the things that we do. I know it doesn't do tap to pay, but either way.
But even the first year that we did that event, we didn't have tap to pay then.
no, it's a mindset change.
And it was the first time they'd ever run their event and never had a line.
Never
and they
had a
had
line.
1,000 people at that event.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
it's
Nobody
not hard.
wants to stand in line for
But
30
think about
minutes.
No.
But you're not. And so here's the other thing that they figured out. All right. And this is this is also one of their observations is that people are less frustrated when they feel like they're making progress.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you stand there and you don't move for a while, you get frustrated.
Correct.
Sure.
But at Chick-fil-A, the problem is like you see 40 cars in line, but like every 3 seconds you're going up 10 feet. Like,
Right.
I mean,
Listen, I will spend 30 minutes longer in the car taking a detour just to not be stopped on the highway.
yeah, that was me this morning.
I like
Right.
if
Yeah.
it takes me longer, okay, but at least I'm moving.
Right.
There's a philosophy to that, and so I think they recognize that as long as we keep the drive-through moving, people are happy.
Yep.
Yep.
Right. And so we see the same thing. It's like it's almost like I don't know what you want to call it, but like the last stand. It's like the goal line stand, right? You walk into the event and way back there are 10 people
Yeah.
ready to check you in
Yeah.
and defend the end zone,
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
Yes.
And it's
And the
like
entrance.
no. Walk in the door and instead of just having a greeter welcome you, you can do that too, but
Yeah.
check them in right there.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you just kind of push more and more people out into the crowd, and a little Chick-fil-A check-in. So anyway, so we'll do a little bit more of that, and then we're going to expose to the point of how do I get if you remove that constraint,
Right.
and so it's no longer the laptop sitting down at the desk typing constraint.
Yelling up at the person right here, and they're standing and you're sitting.
Right,
music
and you
is
push
loud.
that
Hear it
out.
all.
Where's the constraint shift? The constraint now is going to shift to what information is in that guest list,
Right.
And why is it that the charity has to pre-populate that?
Right.
Why can't the guest?
Why can't
Why can't and everybody's like, well, because of this or because of that. Like, well, I can't order my own food on my phone because I can't give it
Right.
all of my special things. You remember Starbucks struggle with that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just drink black coffee, but like I've met plenty of people that like have these really complicated orders. Now look at the Starbucks app
You can do it all.
and you can save it.
Yep.
Yep.
And so, not like everybody needs to save their config for a Handbid event, but it's like there are ways to get around that
If
stuff,
I want to.
Right.
But I think the point is all types of businesses in every industry are recognizing the constraint and addressing it through technology.
Well, and you've solved it when the constraint moves.
Right.
So now we look at check-ins that we do, and we're like, what's the next stage of that? It's going to be, well, maybe I can't find 10 people to do check-in.
Right.
Right.
How do I get people to check themselves in?
Self-check-in kiosk.
Well, I got to give them a paddle number. Okay, well, what if I made your app a paddle number? Right? And I don't even have to like make it where it shows the number. I could do that. Like we could turn the app sideways and it'll show 102.
Yeah.
But I also could build it where if you just hold your phone over your head, we know you paddle raised. We'll just throw you on the screen. I don't, anyway. There's
That
other
would
things
be
you-
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Crazy things we're talking about here.
can freak people out. But the point is like that's progression.
Up
And
and coming.
again, not all of it is features because a lot of times people come to us and they're like, when are you going to build this? And our point is like, what are you actually trying to solve?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you look at sometimes features are necessary. Like for our event, I told you I hate packets. I hate them with a passion, right?
But what do you do?
But at our event, we have packets. Because we have fake money, and that fake money is printed money because you bet on a horse race, and you cannot do that with real dollars legally. Okay?
Right.
Yep.
So what's in that packet? Just money. That's it. It's just fake money based on what package you bought. Well,
Right.
I could digitize that.
Yeah.
I could totally digitize that. So that's where sometimes you come and say, okay, a feature is warranted here. Like we're going to have to make a software change to make this better. It's not a process change.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I remember I told my wife once, I'm like, these packets are so old school. What are you doing? She's like, you come up with a better way to do it. She's like, I hate them too, right? But we've been to so many events where we have seen process, not software, kill you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
for sure.
And I would say in the case of your event, the process really still gave us a good check-in experience, even though we were handing out the
Right.
packets, but we had a very,
still
very
works.
clean guest list. We had,
Right.
I mean, every person Carrie did a great job. We got
Well, we've
every
run this
name.
event for 17 years. We kind of know everybody. But
Right.
That is
but
true.
either way,
That is true.
like to kind of wrap up that part of the conversation, like roadmap what's coming. It's not just features.
Yeah.
It is going to be a lot of recommendations from us on like you should streamline things in this way.
Correct.
Because sometimes we have it.
Yeah.
We were at AFP and we announced, we've had tap to pay since last fall, but we're like, hey, tap to pay is here. We had a lot of people come up to us like, tell me what this is. I'm like, this is new to this space. And so for you guys don't know what it is, like I can capture somebody's phone, like credit card, and now we have digital tap to pay.
Yes, it
Literally
works with
someone
Apple
can
Pay.
come up to me, pull up their Apple Wallet, touch my phone, and I will pull their credit card information and put it on their bidder profile. I do not need a reader. I don't need a swiper. I don't need the Bluetooth thing. We have all that.
Right.
Right.
Okay. But literally, like I've had people,
Yeah,
and they're
that
like,
digital
they hand
piece
me
was
their
great
credit
for
card,
IRF.
and I just put it on my phone, and they're like, "Wow, that is cool."
Yeah.
And it's secure.
It worked great for IRF because we had a lot of people that were like, oh, my new credit card, it's up in my room. Well, I'm going on my excursion. I'll be back later. Then they come back and they'd been out drinking all day and they're like, I forgot my card again. And we're like, let's just see if this digital, Stripe had told us it was coming. And so we tested it on our own phones. We're like, oh, this is amazing.
That is amazing.
I mean, it made for a really great
I haven't tried that part
experience.
It works.
It works.
Yeah,
we
yet. Good
tested
to know.
it.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
We have like spewed for a long time.
We really
probably
have.
should wrap this up.
I know.
probably.
This was great.
I know. Maybe we do a quarterly roadmap conversation.
I think that'd actually be really, really great.
Okay. Well, we better have some of this stuff built by the next quarter.
That is some feedback actually that people are asking for. So
Yeah.
not that it has anything to do with features and
All right,
benefits,
well.
but yes.
Yeah, maybe we should have some of this built before we meet again.
And this is so much more fun than sending an email.
Yeah. I agree.
That's right.
Totally.
All right, you guys.
Okay.
Well, you guys, good luck on all of your fundraising out there. If you're listening to this, you have any other suggestions on features that we should be adding?
Let our service team know.
Yeah, let us know. We'd love to hear
They
it.
got a suggestion box.
Yeah,
They
we
collect them all.
Call our
We
salespeople.
do.
Call anytime.
Call us. Call
All right.
anyone.
Call anytime.
All right.
All right, thanks, guys. Until next time, happy fundraising.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed our show, please take a moment to leave us a review. You can find us on Apple, Google, and Spotify. Don't forget to subscribe for more great content. And if you're a fan of video, check us out on YouTube. Until next time, happy fundraising.